Hello, welcome back, or welcome for the first time if you're new. So I'm going to keep working on Showtime today. I'm going to pick up from where I left off in the last episode. So in the last episode, I did some amazing front-end work. So I took the purescript UI that I've been building, and I split it up into separate components so we can have multiple pages basically. So there's kind of a routing component which shows this menu, and when you click on something here it loads the corresponding page. And topics was a thing I already had, so that still works. It's just its own component now. And upcoming episode is something that I just put a placeholder in for, but then tried to look at that. And then the other thing I did was trying to get the data that the UI needs for displaying the upcoming episode. I did a little bit of work to refactor the routing in Servant to use named routes. And I then very quickly at the end added an endpoint that returns the data for the upcoming episode, just using the standard aeson derived encoding stuff. And it's a bit of a mess. There's all this sort of get cast and get host and get whatever. And this is because of the way the data is structured in Haskell. It's all using new types, which have got records, which have got these accessors on them. And I want to clean this up basically so that it says something like cast, and then it's got a host. It doesn't even say cast actually, you can throw it away. It tries to say host Freddy. Participants will be a list of Hoppy and Boppy. Suggested topics, we should get rid of this get topic. And the current topic should just be either null or a string. So that's kind of the plan for today, to clean up this JSON and then to plug it into this component. So we start to show the information about the upcoming episode. It's going to be a lot of working with aeson and working with argonaut on the purescript side. And I tried to do some of this a little bit before and it was very painful. So I'm hoping it will be okay today, but we'll see how it goes. It might be a lot of swearing at aeson basically. Okay, so we have this is the route that we're hitting, this get episode. So when you say upcoming episodes and just say get, it just it has an endpoint somewhere. And here, okay. So this is what it's actually doing. So it's just calling episode storage.load. This will return an episode, maybe an episode. And this will have a cast inside it, but it's this stuff we need to look at. So we derive generic and then we use the standard to JSON derived class to generate the JSON code, and that's not really the format that we want it to be in. Let me just grab this again. So here, for example, I want to get rid of this get cast. So get cast is this thing, and suggested topics is this thing. Now, annoyingly, I want to keep suggested topics and I keep topic, but I want to throw away get cast. So I need to write my own encoder, but actually before let's start there. I was going to start at the other end. I was tempted to start all the way down at host, but actually let's start at the top and work down, because I think something horrible is going to happen. So I need to implement something called toEncoding, and it's going to take an episode. Oops. And it'll need to do something. It's not a fiddle method to JSON. What version of aeson do we have? It's not the thing I expect to hit first. aeson 2.1, that is quite new, I think, but let's have a look and see. toEncoding is from aeson. Let's call it. Oh, you said there it's 2.2. Okay, so I might need to I could just do the to JSON approach. aeson introduced to encoding quite recently, which is a more efficient way of specifying custom encoding. I think that's what it came from. To JSON is to layer, but to encoding is, I think, nicer and also faster. But let's have a look at the to JSON. I think, yeah, let's see what we can do with that. Okay, so we want to go aeson. It's got an example in here of writing instance by hand. Yep. So this, we can use this object, whereas to encoding uses pairs. But let's do this approach. Oops. So just grab that, and we'll go back into here, and we'll say to JSON, given some episode, is some stuff. Okay, something's going very strange here. To JSON not visible. What is it? Oh, it's capital JSON, that's why. No, it's not that either. That's strange. Why is it? What am I typing wrong here? To JSON. What is visible in here? That's very strange. Cabal REPL. Show me the info of to JSON. Import data.json. Data.aeson. Okay, and then show me to JSON. It's confusing me. So it's class to JSON, where it's got to JSON. It also has to encoding and to JSON list and to encoding list. It's actually to encoding I was trying to write. So I don't know what was going on there. Is it really not a thing? So we say to encoding. We don't have a person. This is the example I copied. But we could say to encoding E is undefined. And I'm just going to restart the LSP server and hope it was something weird like that. It still says the same thing, so what is going on? When I build it, do I get the same error? Yep. So to JSON is coming from data.aeson. Oh, for fuck's sake, John. Okay, I'd imported the type, or the class, but not its methods, basically. It's functions, sorry. Okay, so we can now encode an episode, and this is encoded using something called pairs. I will write that as JSON.pairs because I want to pollute this namespace. Okay, and pairs takes an array of stuff. And the stuff is something like the name, so it could be like cast. And I think it's that, and then some value, so thing. Let's have a look at their example of the encoding. To encoding. Oh, pairs, sorry, doesn't take the brackets, it takes a tuple, is it? How is this a tuple? I'm confused actually. It's not a tuple, sorry, it's a monoid. Okay. Right, it doesn't know what thing is. We can say it's text. Okay. So in theory, if I were to run that, build it and run it, it should just say cast equals thing when I ask it for an episode. I am running it somewhere. I think it's here. So if I reload this, there we go. Okay, so cast equals thing. So at least we can override this. Now, what I wanted in here was not cast, but I just want to put the host in directly. And that's going to be get cast of E. So it's e.getCast. And then we're going to get the host from that. Cast host. Like that. Okay, back to here, restart it. It might get a bit tedious, so I might find a quicker way of testing these things. But there we go. Okay, so we got host, and then it's got this get host, which is quite annoying. So if we look at our encoding of host, it'll be in here. Oh, that's going to be funny. 1 second. We look at our encoding, we're just saying instance to host of, sorry, to JSON of host, but I want to override that, and I want to say where to encoding equal to JSON dot, is it like default encoding? Apparently not. Oh, we've got other problems. So let's do that. And then we will import this. No, it's not called default encoding, so it won't complete it for me. Encoding and decoding. Generic to encoding and then default options. Generic to encoding and then JSON.default options. Thanks. Okay. But we're going to override the options. The reason I did this is so that I can then say in here, I found this before, but it's something like which one is it? It was some encoding. I know it's unwrap unary records. And that should be equal to true. might qualify this as well. Okay. Going to my other terminal. So we should be able to say, oops, we need to import cast. Is it cast.cast? Yep. So we should be able to say host is equal to host Bob. Gosh, I thought they worked out for me because I didn't import storage. But anyway, okay, so we got our host here, and then if you say import data.aeson, and then we should be able to say, is it encode? I use this library. It's encode. Host, and it comes back with Bob on its own. And if I set this to be, I'll just get rid of this actually, so we don't change default options. Reload that. Have we got host? No. And then we can say encode host. And it says get host Bob. Okay. So this is what I want. And that's kind of cool. So now when we encode, it's not that cool, but anyway, when we encode to host, it does the thing I wanted to do, which is to get rid of this get host. And then just give it a value inside it. I don't think this works though, because in here, we get this back. I don't think it uses the encoder that I've set up for the host. We'll find out. Oops. So back to here, reload, and then we can something like is episode. Yeah, we're doing an episode, okay. But not really that. So inside an episode, we've got the cast. So to create a cast, we use that constructor, and it's got a host. So we can put our host in here. And then it's got this participants, and it's got some other stuff. So the episode's got a cast, then it's got suggested topics, which is a list, and then the topic. So topics is empty, and the current topic is a maybe type. I thought it had host in scope. It's not in scope. Okay, I reloaded. Oh, I haven't created my cast properly. Episode applied to 3 value arguments, but its data type is none. What does the cast look like? Should I say cast? It should work, I think. So we give it the host and the list of participants. Yep, that's okay. So then we should say episode, and that's got a cast, list of participants, and then nothing. So list of topics and nothing. But that does not work. The constructor for this has got 3 things in it, I thought. Is it right episode? Info episode, does that work? Define the storage. Okay. Import episode. Dot episode. Episodes to episode, obviously. So now I think this will be E is equal to episodes dot episode dot episode. What is E? Okay. Let's call it episode. Okay, now we have an episode. Finally, harder than I thought. But it's got a cast in it and that's got a host. And that's the only thing we really care about at the moment. So we say encode episode. It says host Bob. That is actually what we want. Okay, cool. So I didn't think it would work, but obviously the previous time I did this, I did something wrong. Okay, so in here we can set up our host, and then we want participants. And this is not a list, sorry, this is a single thing, that's a monoid. So participants is get cast participants. Let's give that a go. Reload. So I'm just going to inline my cast here. So I'm going to do this in one go. Cast. No, surely not. That's not in storage. Our cast has got some host. And some list participants. In fact, I'm not going to assign this, I'm just going to encode it directly. This is where I need to say cast.host. Okay, so it works for an empty list, that's great. But now we could put in a participant. And put Betty in there. And now we've got get participant showing up. So we need to get rid of that one as well. So this should be okay, right? We've done it for we've done it for a host. So we should build it for participant as well. If I can find participant, but also I'm going to grab this. So we'll do generic encoding again, but unwrapping re-records. Reload. And now participants come out. Okay, so partway there, we've got host participants, then the topics. That should be easy enough to do, I think. So don't much like the way it's doing this formatting, but anyway. Topics. These are suggested topics. I'm just trying to think. Suggested topics, I kind of wanted to just use the original encoding. So if you remember from the start, the cast looked horrible, but suggested topics and the current topic looked okay. And I could set them up like this, one by one, but I'm wondering if I can get it to use the generic encoding, somehow strip out the cast, and then add this onto it. Because JSON pairs will return an encoding. Generic encoding, I presume, is an encoding. So I guess, is there a way with the options to filter out stuff? I don't think there is here. I can't see an option that's to do with filtering on the way through. So maybe I'll just write them by hand. Yeah, I can't see anything here that's going to let me filter. Okay, I'll just write them. It's only two things. So suggested topics is going to be e dot suggested topics. And then the other thing is topic. That's going to be e dot topic. Right, back to here, so we can sort of fill in the next bit. So suggested topics. It should just be a list of strings, I think. So like topic 1 and topic 2. No, okay. I need to actually qualify them using constructors. And import topics dot topic qualified as topic. Wow. I need to write this then. Okay. And now this is topic dot topic. I don't know why I've managed to import all of storage unqualified, but I have. So there we go. Okay, it's not added topic stat. Did I save the file? I did save the file. I thought it should have suggested topics in here. Shall I reload? There we go. Okay, suggested topics. We've got topic 1 and topic 2. That's pretty good. And then we've just got 1 to go, which is the topic itself. But that should just work. So it works when it's null. And if it's just, it's going to be just topic dot topic in the chosen topic. And that comes out fine as well. Cool. Okay, if I go back to here, rename terminal to be the API, I think. I'll just restart this. Okay, go back to here and reload. I think it's okay. So we got host, participants, suggested topics, and the current topic. That's kind of where I wanted to be. It's good. Halfway through the episode, and I've done my one half of my JSON encoding, or one half of the work, which is the JSON encoding. So now we need to do the flip of that, which is to load it in here. Okay, let's switch languages because that's always fun. So this is now going to be in, I can't remember, main calls upcoming episode. Okay, which currently doesn't have an initialize. No, it's already happening. Okay, but I should be able to copy that from topic subparents. So there's a couple of things. We'll need an action which is initialize, and then when we initialize, we'll send just initialize, and I'll need to write a handler for this, handle action, which will take initialize and then do this kind of stuff. Might actually start with that because that's going to be the most interesting bit. Okay, so we won't load topics, we'll load something else. Initialize will be just initialize. And that's not an action. I don't know why it's not complaining. Oh, I know why it's not complaining. It's not complaining because this language server runs when you save the file, as opposed to the Haskell one, which runs as you're typing. Okay, so we'll have an action called initialize. We will just initialize, and then down here we will load the wrong thing. We want to import Ajax Web, yeah. And then Ajax response format. And we don't really want to import left, we want to import, oh, it's imported both left and right, that's good. Console log, class console log. Decode JSON will come from argonaut. Log show comes from console. And just comes from maybe. Okay. Oh, how much type? Yeah, okay. This is not the state. So the state currently has got a string in it. Okay. So where did topics come from? Here. Okay, needs to do a bit of work in this. So the endpoint we're hitting is /upcoming episode. We'll make the request. We'll then decode it. We need to decode it into something. We need a type to store this, so it won't be a string. It'll be an upcoming episode. It'll just be an episode. Doesn't matter if it's upcoming or not. So we need a type for episode. And it's going to be equal to, and then we will have some stuff in here. So we'll have a host, which is a string. And we'll have participants, which is an array of strings. I'll just put my commas wherever. Host participants, and then we have got suggested topics, which again is an array of strings. And we have our currently selected topic, which is maybe a string. Okay, that's gone very badly wrong. Oh, syntax error here. Let me just comment that line out for a second. Okay. It's not going to be that, it's going to be maybe an episode. So we can fix the initial state, which is just set to nothing. Okay, so I need to work out how to use argonaut. This won't be topics, this will be an episode. So I'm hoping that there's some way of deriving the JSON in purescript. Because of type, which looks about right. But I don't know how to use it, basically. Argonaut. Let's have a look at the codex. Actually, let's have a look at core. Start there and work through. Move in a quick start. I couldn't see what I was looking for there. Is there any example in the codex? Yes. This is what I want. User from JSON. Except we're not going to be user, we're going to be episode. And that's either going to be an error or an episode. And then type JSON. Good. Argonaut. And then decode JSON will need to come from Argonaut as well. I'll get it in a second. Should have qualified this. Okay. Right, okay. I misunderstood the error, but I had to do that work anyway. But it doesn't know what type it's decoding into, because all I'm doing with it is logging it. It doesn't give any indication of what the type is. But if I use modify, a couple of things I could do. One is I could add a type annotation here. So I could say I'm going to decode that into what's the type? Something like either a JSON decode error, I can't remember exactly what it was, or an episode, something like that. Yep, that would be enough for it. We can work it out. But I shouldn't need to add a type annotation, because when I assign it in the state, it should know what type it is. So upcoming episode is episode. It's not episode, it's just episode because it's a maybe type. Okay, I think that worked. Can I get rid of that? I can. Okay, I didn't need to that work. Remove all these references. Look at that. Okay, does it work? So we're logging it, so that should give some indication whether or not we actually have something. We can also show it. So you have something like render episode, which goes from episode to h.html action npm render episode E is going to be, we'll chuck a div around it because that's how internet coding works. So wrap in a div, and inside here we'll have something like, shall I use some kind of heading? Text, I'd say host, and after we say host, we will say hh dot, I'll just use a p tag for now. This is not the correct markup, but we'll worry with it in a moment. What I really want to do is say e.host. Okay, so in the div, we do something like maybe render episode. I can't remember the order of arguments to maybe, whether it's the function first or the fallback first. I think it's the fallback first. And in this case, the fallback would be hh.text, no episode, loaded. Then we call render episode, and the thing we're calling it on is the episode. No, it's upcoming episode or something. Okay, so I need to change this name because we're using it now. Doesn't know, maybe. It's not complaining, so it looks like I maybe got the arguments in the correct order. So here, if I reload that, I want to show the console topics there. Oh, reload without the cache. We don't seem to be running anything. Strange. So the upcoming episode page, it's really just looking like it's not reloaded because this text is gone. It's not a caching issue, I don't think. Oh, for goodness sake. I forgot how to do development. Spigo. I need to rebuild the app. Okay. There we go. It's loaded and decoded Freddy from the back end. That's pretty cool. So now we can add the rest of it. So we got participants. Oh, it's inside here. Don't want to do this. I'm going to fix my markup a little bit. So we'll have a DL and it takes children. Okay, so inside a DL we'll have DT, which is host, and DD. Does that work? I think so. I think it says DL, DT, DD. Okay. Slightly better than using headings everywhere, but not great. Here's some text and participants. And in the DD, we will actually have a list of the participants. So it'll be hh.ul, and this will contain the LIs. So we should take e.participants, and we want to turn them into hh.li underscore, and here it'll be hh.text of p. Type error. Couldn't match type array with that. Oh yes. Okay, so it's not an array containing an array, it's going to be an array of LIs. I hope this makes sense, but essentially for the definition of participants, we create UL and it contains a list of LIs. So we get the participants, and for each participant we generate an LI element, and we set its contents to be the text of P. There we go, amazing. Then suggested topics, we can do the same thing. Suggested topics, and definition of that is going to be a similar thing. So we'll do a UL, and that'll contain mapping of topic to hh.li. We can probably write a helper for this. And that's going to be over e.suggested topics. We can write helper for that, right? So we can say to list. It's going to take a list of an array of strings, and it's going to return an array of HTML. Is that right? Let's type for this. An array of HTML WI. Oh, damn it. We could just say component HTML, I think. So to list of some array is equal to li tag with not an li tag, a ul tag with a mapping of the element, whatever that's going to be. Let's call them x and x's. It doesn't really matter what they are. Hello, Silent. Welcome. So we're going to map this into an li where the hh.text is whatever this x is, and it's going to apply to the x's. So I'm just reduce that. Not much type. Oh wait, I didn't do so x's because this goes here. Maybe. and I'm missing some brackets. Okay, so we could then say, instead of that, we could say to list. And then down here, we can do the same thing. I get rid of that. And that did the same mistake twice. Okay, and then go down to one line. Okay, just make sure it still works. There we go. Okay, so host, participants, sets of topics, and then the current topic. What we can do for this is maybe, actually, let's do the title first. So it's just a text, and it's going to be topic. The way this works actually is it is a topic, you show the topic, and if there's not, then you show suggested topics. So I'm going to move that out into a helper. Its own function, not a helper. So render topics, yeah, that's that. And this is going to go from an episode to h.component.html action, those things. So render topics. I'm going to look at this. So we say case e.topic of nothing. We want to render suggested topics. And if it's just T, then we want to render topic of T. There's a help for that. I could just say maybe. So I could say maybe render suggested topics. That's going to need access to E. Or render topic of e.topic. We won't give it E, we'll give it e.suggested topics. Okay, so we practice each of these. So render topic should be easy. It's going to go from a string, the topic is, to render some HTML, and render topic is a list. Okay, that's interesting. That's very annoying. So it really wants to be a DT and a DD. But the DT does not contain a DD. So I'm going to say topic, and then hh.dd, hh.text. No, it's not hh.text, it's this point it contains to list. No, sorry, in this case it is just text because it's a single element, and it's whatever this topic is. So render suggested topics. going to go from an array of strings to complete HTML action MTM. I went too far there. So render suggested topics of topics is, again, this is going to be an array. It can't be an array because this is not an array. So I have to think about how to do this. But anyway, it's going to be text of suggested topics. And the definition of this is where we're going to have to list topics. Okay, couldn't match type. Couldn't match this with array. So the hackiest thing I think of is this. Same thing here. Okay, and then we can, this point, call render topics. Okay, probably compiled. Still says suggested topics. Okay, to set a topic, I can do that from the command line I built, I think. So the compile run showtime episode topic select Rust is cool. Let's select that as a topic. Okay, go back to here, just make sure that works. So here, yeah, we now have a selected topic. Oops. So here, when I load it, it's got a topic, just Rust is cool, but it's still showing suggested topics. Ah, because of the cache. Okay, if you load out the cache, then it puts the current topic in. Okay, so when you have a topic, it says Rust is cool. Back to command line, so it's topic clear, I think it was. And then reload the page, and you get suggested topics. Cool. Okay, so 2 pages now, one that shows the topics and one that shows the current planned upcoming episode. It assumes it exists, so I say to cope with in the empty case, but well, it has some text, so maybe I should tidy that text up. But I need to add some actions like picking a topic, or clearing the topic, and also like replacing the host and the participants. These are all functions that exist in the command line. And I'll bring some pages as well for managing hosts and managing participants. But I can pick that up next week. Yeah, and we can slowly start moving the functionality through to the front end. But that went better than expected. The JSON encoding was more straightforward than I thought, which is good. And I've got 2 windows open. The decoding on the purescript side was easier than I thought as well, which is great. But yeah, next week, just start plowing through and adding some of the missing functionality and some of the extra requests to carry out actions, like replacing this or picking a topic or whatever. Cool. So yeah, thank you for watching along, and hopefully see you next week. Goodbye.